Hi again, thanks for joining us today. If you're new here, my name is Rachael Lee. I'm a local realtor here in Jacksonville in Northeast Florida, and today we are going to be going over resale versus new construction homes. So this is a huge topic of conversation whenever I sit down with a buyer for the first time and it comes up. Are you looking for new construction or an older home? Are you open to both? Of course, the answer is going to be different for everyone. So I wanted to go ahead and put together a two-part series on the pros and cons of each, so that way I could direct all of my buyers to these videos to kind of help them understand why they would choose one over the other and ultimately decide which is best for them. Today, we're going to start with part one, which is going to be the pros and cons of new construction. So let's jump right in. We're going to go ahead and start with the pros of new construction. So the first big pro is going to be customization. The way that you can choose your design and your colors, the finishes, the hardware, the appliances, really every little detail of the home and make it custom to you, really make it your dream home is a huge pro, probably one of the biggest pros for new construction. So the second pro that we're going to touch on is going to be low maintenance. New construction homes are of course going to be lower maintenance than resale or older homes because everything is brand new. So this is going to cost less for homeowners insurance, cost less for maintenance and upkeep, and just less all across the board, less maintenance, less things to worry about. Now, if you've gone with an experienced realtor or I represented you through the process, you've had multiple inspections leading up to the closing of your new built home. So it comes with a certain peace of mind knowing that everything behind the walls is exactly as it's supposed to be, it's functioning properly, and has passed multiple inspections. I just did a video last week on biggest mistakes to avoid with new construction purchases. I'm going to link it down below so that way you can go watch that one as well. Kind of give you a little bit more depth on things to avoid if you are going new construction. So another pro that's very specific to our area and our market right now, here in Jacksonville and St. Johns County area, the preferred lenders for the builders are offering interest rates significantly lower than the average interest rate from a bank or mortgage broker, up to 2% lower in reality. So a huge pro here, you could get a much lower rate on a new build home rather than buying resale. This is ultimately because the builder is funneling all their business through this preferred lender so they can afford to do that for you. There's also other nuances there that we can get into if it's something you're interested in, but for the most part, we count this as a pro. So our fourth pro for new construction is going to be the amenities and the amenity centers. So a lot of these new construction communities in Jacksonville and St. Johns County have gorgeous, top-of-the-line, high-tech amenity centers. We're talking multiple gyms and pools, splash pads and water parks and everything that you could imagine, little computer rooms and business centers. Anything that their residents could want, they are way ahead of it, putting it in, making it nice, modern, and very functional for you. This is something that even if you find an older community that does have some amenities, those amenities are going to be built around the time that the homes were built, which is usually going to be quite a while ago. So they're not necessarily going to be as up to date, as high tech, or even as new and clean, really. The fifth pro on our list is going to be the HOA. So the HOA is in place to make sure that the neighborhood stays clean, upkept, and that the pride of ownership really shows in the neighborhood. So that way you don't have a beautiful home that you just paid top dollar for and you care for well with a house right next door that might be dragging down your property values a bit. It's not as cared for or upkept, things like that. This is a great one for people that have experienced that before in an older neighborhood or a historic neighborhood, and they want to be in a neighborhood where everyone is held to the same standards for their home and the upkeep of the exterior. Our sixth and final pro that we're going to go over today for new build construction is going to be the location. So in Jacksonville, most of our new build communities are going to be south side and into St. Johns County. St. Johns County has some of the best schools around, and the location is great because it has everything that you would need. All of the modern amenities and shopping centers and things like that are going to be right there in St. Johns County, and people love living there. Especially love knowing that their kids are getting a great education and that they're close and easy access to the schools. So we're going to jump into the cons of new construction now, and I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here with our first one being location as well. So for one buyer, the location is a pro because it has great schools and good access to local retail shops and restaurants and things like that. For another buyer, in the same way, the location is a con. And this is because it is a little bit far. So St. Johns County and kind of south side of Jacksonville is a little bit far from the beaches or maybe downtown Jacksonville. You're going to be looking at about a 40-minute drive, maybe 45. So if you work in those areas and you have to commute every day, that is definitely a con or something that you'll want to take into consideration when looking into the new build communities in this area. Also, some of the most popular new build communities in the St. Johns County area have grown so large that it'll take you 15, 18 minutes from the highway to get to the newer phases of their development. This is something you'll want to take into consideration too, knowing that it might take you a while to get through the development back out to the highway. There's a ton of new development going on in this area still. They are adding in new highway and bypasses, on-ramps and off-ramps. So this should be alleviated in the future, but for now, make sure you're paying attention to the commute. Our second con for new construction is going to be the price. So for new construction, in general, you're usually going to be paying a little bit more for it than the average resale or older home. Now, this is not always the case. Of course, it depends what areas you're looking in and what type of home and all of that. But as a general rule, you will be paying slightly more for a new construction house than a resale home. Our third is going to be the potential long wait or build time. So this is potentially 9 to 10 months of waiting. A lot of communities are a lot shorter than that. Some of them even have quick move-in options that are available now or within the next 4 to 6 weeks. So that's always an option, but for the most part, if you're customizing from the studs up, it might be between 8 to 12 months that you'll be waiting for this house to be finished. During that time, a lot could change with rates, lenders, and things. So make sure you ask what happens if costs go up, if rates change, everything like that. It's also a consideration because if you are in a hurry or on a timeline, this might not be the best option for you. Our fourth con for new construction is going to be resale value in the short term. So this is a con because depending on the timeline for the builder, they could still be putting up new homes in your community within a year or 2 years. If something happens and your situation changes and you need to turn around and sell quickly and the builder is still building in your community, this could be pretty tricky. Competing against the builder is always hard because they have the best incentives and the best rates through their lender. They can give free credits and upgrades, design credits that you can't give. I've definitely seen it go both ways with the resale, but for a quick turnaround, it's definitely something you'd like to try to avoid. So that's a consideration if you're looking at new build. Our fifth con for new construction is going to be cookie cutter neighborhoods. So a lot of the buyers I work with love the charm and the uniqueness that comes with a historic neighborhood or walkable area. These communities are just not going to have that charm in the same way. And most communities, there's only a few options to choose from for exterior facade. So really most of the homes are going to look similar in varying shades in the same family and things like that. This isn't always a bad thing. Some people love the uniformity that brings and having all of the homes equally as beautiful and nice as the next one and the next one. But it's definitely something that you'll consider and could be considered a con if you do love the charm and character that comes with a historic or older neighborhood. Our last con for new construction is going to be the construction going on around you. So this one might be a no-brainer to some, but sometimes you get so caught up and excited in it that you don't really think about it. Usually these new build communities could be adding on continuous phases for years and years after you purchase your home. You're going to want to make sure you ask about that and be sure that you're okay with that. You know, if you work from home or you have a young baby that you're trying to sleep train, anything like that, this could be very difficult for you. The loud noises, machines coming in and out, the roads being busted up and things like that. It's a consideration and is definitely a con for some. So that is going to wrap up our pros and cons for new construction. This is part one of a series, new construction versus resale. Resale video will be coming on Thursday, so keep an eye out for that one. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. If you've watched to the end of this video and you feel like new construction sounds like it is it for you, feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you determine which community is going to be best for you and your budget and answer any questions that you have about new construction or Jacksonville real estate in general. My contact information will be down below, as well as a link to that 5 mistakes that you want to avoid when buying new construction, and we'll see you in the next one.